Which are your favorite subjects or the topics of PSIR? 6 distinct phases of Indian foreign policy evolution.
If you were to get selected and you are collector of a place, what will be your first priority?
So you think we will ever, whatever you might, economic growth you might do, be ever able to solve this unemployment problem in India? In every election, before election, every government, there's a thing called competitive welfarism.
What is the biggest law and order?
Come in. Please take a seat, Amritanshu.
Thank you, sir.
Were you there the last year also?
No, sir.
No. So Amritanshu is from Odisha,
Yes, sir.
but Chandni Chowk. Oh, you also have a Chandni Chowk there.
Yeah.
Wonderful. He's fond of playing chess, watching movies, web series, reading non-fiction books. He is done Bachelor of Engineering in Electrical Electronics Engineering from BITS, Pilani, Hyderabad campus.
Yes, sir.
And your optional is
Political Science and International Relations. sir.
PSIR. All right. Which are your favorite subjects or the topics of PSIR?
Particularly international relations, sir. and
International
within-
relations. So can you tell me various theories, very briefly, what are the theories of international relations?
So the topic of international relations is a evolving discipline. So
Okay.
newer theories tend to develop over time, and it is
Right.
an evolving discipline.
Right?
The first branch of theory was the idealism, the stream of idealism,
Right.
which was started by the likes of Woodrow Wilson, among others, after
Right.
World War I, when a lot of destruction had happened, and they proposed for a more cooperative world order. with
Cooperative
peace.
approach was there.
Then after World War II, then the realist stream of approach also started to take place as a form of criticism
Correct.
towards the idealism, stream of idealism,
And
which
who
had
was the
dominated.
main exponent?
E.H. Carr and Morgenthau.
Morgenthau. So, and then
Then, sir, with the start of the behavioral discipline and the introduction of scientific methods into
Yeah.
international relations,
Okay.
it diverged into neorealism and neoliberalism,
Right.
where neoliberalism was focused more on how countries cooperate with each other, while neoliberalism was focused that the inherent structure of the international relations tend to focus
Okay.
on
So I'll stop you here. Just tell me, what is Arnold's billiards ball theory?
Billiards ball theory, sir, developed by Arnold Wolfers, is a theory which specified that nation states are like billiard balls, which are hard on the outside, and they clash with each other to lead to reactions and the behavior of international politics.
Okay. And the cobweb model?
The cobweb model is
Burton?
by Benny Burton.
Yeah.
Was developed in response to the billiard ball theory post the challenge of globalization,
Right.
which led to a more interconnected world.
Very well. So now that you mentioned globalization, so let me quote a quotation that from George Modelsky, that globalization is neither a problem nor a solution, but only a process. What is your comment on this?
So he is correct in it.
Okay.
Because we see that a lot of these emerging disciplines have been part of international relations since time immemorial. Prior to the present form of globalization, earlier form of globalization which was in the form of colonization, or a form of globalization which was started by India by the travelers of Odisha who went from Odisha to Indonesia, Bali specifically for merchant trading and among others. So globalization is a process, and in the future globalization will also evolve.
Very well. So the second Secretary General of UN, Dag Hammarskjöld, he commented that UN was not created for taking mankind to the heaven, but to prevent it from falling into hell. In the context of the present day functioning of UN, what is your comment?
So I would say that present day UN is facing a lot of challenges. So far UN has been able to control some of those challenges, but it has not been able to fully develop its own potential with respect to other global conflicts which has happened and the other challenges which is happening. So yes, in a way the founders of UN also thought that they would not be able to completely fulfill all of the problems which are presented to them, but there will be a viable solution and a viable way through which the world can help to improve itself.
Very well, Amritanshu, quickly, 6 distinct phases of Indian foreign policy evolution with years.
With
and important events in those years.
okay, sir. So, sir, post-independence or can I take pre-independence?
Post-independence.
Post-independence.
47.
So, from 1947 to 1962, I would say it would be a period of idealism. From 1962 to 1971, it would be a period of realism. Within 1947, 1962, we can say that India founded the non-alignment movement in 1950s and the Indo-China War of 1962.
A quick question, whether non-alignment was a realistic policy or idealism?
So, it was both. In idealism, it helped to project India's power, India's values of peace and anti-colonialism, anti-racism amongst the world. And in realism, it helped us to lead the global south in one way, and additionally it also helped to diverge
But that
China and
global
Russia.
south voted against you when you lost to China.
Yes, sir, that was one of the drawbacks in which we had to recalibrate our policy and had to take a realist stance with respect to that.
So something happened between 62 and 71 which redefined the Indian foreign policy, something in the field of technology.
Green Revolution, sir?
You said it, so you know it. 71, something unique happened which was a paradigm shift as far as India's approach is concerned. Can you tell me what exactly was that?
When India decided to intervene in another country militarily.
So use of kinetic force for the first time.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And 71 to 91, lot of important things happened.
Yes, sir, we became
And something led to the formation of London Club. What was the London Club and what did India do?
So, I am not able to recall the London Club.
1974, Pokhran 1.
Oh, okay. So, London Club was that elite group of countries which was aiming to
Which
stop
brought
India.
in NPT.
NPT.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
So this is the perspective I have given you.
Yes.
So you've understood the whole thing. Okay. Can you tell me the concept of Virtu and Fortuna as far as Machiavelli is concerned?
So, the concept of virtue.
Not virtue.
Virtu.
Virtu.
Which was developed by Machiavelli to signal out the virtues that should be within the prince, that is reason and courage. So, Machiavelli was a realist philosopher, so who pointed out that the prince or the political entrepreneur in his
He
case,
should be a combination of?
he should be a combination of lion as well as of a fox.
Thank you.
Your BITS has a cultural function, it is called Oasis.
I am from BITS, Hyderabad, ma'am, so
Yeah.
it is Pearl.
But this BITS Pilani celebrates that Oasis, or all the BITS celebrate it?
Ma'am, different college have their different fest, but they are modeled on the BITS Pilani model, which has 3 fest, one for technical purposes, one for sports, and one for the cultural events.
So, which one is for the cultural events?
For my college, ma'am, it is Pearl.
It's per. Okay. So, but this is all affiliation with the BITS Pilani,
Yes, ma'am.
your college also?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, have you heard of the scheme Mera Yuva Bharat?
If I am not wrong, ma'am, it is about the writers program which was launched by the government of India.
There is something called Nirakshi AUV.
I don't recall, ma'am.
Nirakshi, you haven't heard?
No, ma'am.
Okay. If you were to get selected and you are collector of a place, what will be your first priority?
My first priority would be to take care of the law and order situation there. So that once the law and order is in place, all kinds of economic activities as well as social development can take place.
Okay. How will you ensure that?
Ma'am, my first aim would be to see that regular policing is done. Second would be to empower the citizens so that they can inform any kind of discrepancies which are taking place in their area. And third would be to enable the law infrastructure of the place with, for example, like we can use deploy CCTVs in essential places.
You are basically concentrating on the corrective action,
Yes,
is it?
yes, ma'am.
But could you not preempt certain things so that law and order does not get disturbed?
Ma'am, then I will have to take an assessment about the specificities of the district and what kind of problems are being faced by it and what is the crime profile of the district, so that certain preventive measures can also be taken.
Yeah, because that is also important.
Yes, ma'am.
If there is no problem, then no solution is required to be found.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So basic education, how will you ensure that all the children in the district go for studying, to attend the classes in schools?
Ma'am, my first step in this regard would be to strictly enforce the midday meal programs which has been started by all the government schools. Second would be to counsel the parents to send their children to study instead of keeping them at home. And third would be to ensure that the teachers are regularly present in the school, and additionally they are teaching the material well to their classes.
If I say that there is lot of pilferage in the midday meals also, what steps would you take to stop that?
Ma'am, the steps in this regards would be to first to conduct regular audits of the amount of food material and the amount of cost which we are incurring for this. Second would be to conduct surprise inspections with respect to it. And third would be to ask the children themselves to give out a survey, that kind of a thing, so that to check if they are being given the proper meals or not.
So briefly tell me, what is the significance of Indo-Pacific region in geopolitics?
Ma'am, Indo-Pacific is an emerging geopolitical structure which combines the two oceans of the Western Pacific as well as the Indian Ocean. So first we can take a look at the economics of the place, where a majority of the trade routes pass through this area with important sea lines of communication passing through it. Additionally, we see that a lot of resources like oil, minerals, among others, is scattered across these areas. And additionally, we see that the interest of great powers like China, USA, and up to some extent UK, France, and us also taking place in that area.
Okay. Do you watch films?
Yes, ma'am.
Which is the latest film that you had watched?
Dunki, ma'am.
Dunki. How did you like it?
Ma'am, it was an average film.
Okay. Other than watching films, what is your favorite pastime?
Playing chess.
Chess. Okay. Okay. What will be your major priority once you join the service?
Ma'am, to keep myself updated so that I can serve in the best of my capacity.
You read today's newspaper?
Yes, ma'am.
So what was the biggest problem that you read today?
I saw that the wrestlers' protest has evolved into a new form where newer wrestlers are protesting against the older wrestlers for destroying their playing years.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is democracy the best form of government?
So far, yes, sir.
Why?
Because the rulers come from the people, and there is a higher form of accountability to the rulers, to the citizens.
All right. So let's come back to the Wrestling Federation of India, which you just mentioned. The earlier president was elected. Then there were a whole lot of wrestlers accused him of sexual misconduct and harassment. Nothing happened till these wrestlers went to court. When court interfered, then FIR was lodged. And now his very close aide was elected, and that gentleman, the previous one, came up again with a victory sign, making all kind of statements, right? So the question is, that was a free and fair election, kind of a democratic election to the president's position of WFI, after the previous man was moved out. Out of 47 people, 40 voted for the man who was under accusation for sexual misconduct. This is the result of one man, one election, one vote. The same philosophy applies to India. So would you want the same democratic system of one man, one vote carrying on, or something must change so that such people who have criminal cases against them do not get elected? So what do you recommend must change?
So I would say that we adopt Dr. Ambedkar, what he used to say, that not only one man, one vote is essential, but one man, one vote, one value is essential. So that.
But is that possible? It's not happening. One man, one vote is happening, but that value system is not there.
So I would agree that we are not at a perfect state of democracy, but the purpose of democracy was to evolve ourselves into our better selves. And in this regard, I believe that one man, one vote, one value can be taken, especially with the emerging technological trends where we have social media and all. And in the present case, which you suggested, that the ide of the man was ide of the person accused of sexual harassment was elected to the Wrestlers Federation of body. A lot of anger was vented out on the social media, and as a result, government suspended it, which showed that the checks and balances of democracy may take time to work, but they eventually work in the long run.
So this change came about because of public anger, which means public participation in democracy. What would you suggest that in other cases where, for example, criminals getting elected or non-delivery, non-performance by political leadership, and that they should be held accountable, what methodology of public participation do you recommend?
Sir, the best way in this regard would be to strengthen our gram panchayats and to decentralize the powers of the government, so that most of the decisions are taken at the local level, so that smaller units can ensure better accountability for the people who are running those smaller units.
Okay. Can you draw for us, an equation between India's economic growth and unemployment problem? And when do you see that employment or unemployment problem getting under control, if at all?
Could you explain the question again, sir?
Question is that on one hand we are talking of becoming 5th largest economy, very soon will be 5 trillion economy, and all that kind of story. Yet your unemployment rate remains at about 8%, and between people 15 to 24 years is close to 40%. Most of it is self-employed, not making enough money. So you think we will ever, whatever economic growth you might do, be ever able to solve this unemployment problem in India? Or what needs to be done to solve it?
Sir, I believe that we would be able to solve our economic and employment related issues with higher amounts of growth, which we are planning to do in the present 25 years.
Higher amount of growth in which sectors?
Sir, we need growth and modernization of all the three sectors: primary, secondary and tertiary. For primary, we need to modernize our agriculture, ensure that the agricultural diversity is maintained, and
the more you modernize agriculture, the less manpower gets committed there. You have more unemployment.
Yes, sir. So first of all, sir, if we modernize the sector, some jobs may be taken, but new jobs are also created. For example, if we are using machines in agriculture, the demand for manual labor may go down, but the demand to operate those machines, the demand of labor.
See, you would have seen videos of car manufacturing. You
Yes.
hardly see a man. Everything is happening robotically.
Yes, sir. But those robots need maintenance also, and the people
How many people are
employed.
required?
So new jobs are created, and newer
So
sectors.
suppose I make the statement that in the present state of India's demography, skill development, and whatever is the realities of where we are, unless the population is controlled, your unemployment problem will not be solved. That's what, if you actually look at statistics, in the last 5 years, I think 10, 12 million jobs have been created, but another 100 million workforce has added to the labor force. That's the statistics which I read somewhere. Every 10 years about 70 million jobs are required. But there's a limit to what job can you create.
Yes, sir. So that's why we need the participation of the private sector along with a good amount of skill development, and population control will eventually come into the picture, because at present we see that the total fertility rate of India is at 2, and it is expected to taper around at 1.5 within the next 25 years. So we see that population will automatically be decreasing due to the rise of education, health, among others. And yes, sir, we need to increase our jobs.
in every election, before election, every government, there's a thing called competitive welfarism. Right? You understand the term that I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And freebies, all kind of freebies. Same party which talks against these freebies as Revedi culture, when it comes to election, do the same thing, and they make promises which cannot be fulfilled. Punjab is an example. They made all kind of promises, then they were running to the government to get the funds. So what do you suggest that these kind of promises of freebies and competitive welfarism which cannot be met within the existing budget of a state should not be permitted? What mechanism do you suggest to be put in place?
So there are two ways which I would suggest that this issue can be tackled. First is the awareness within the public, and to see that whether the public sees that some amount that the promises which are being made to them by their representatives will not be able to fulfill. And second, I would like to see that the judiciary takes note of the things, judiciary and election commission, which have been taking note of the things and which have been saying to the government to bring out some kind of mechanism to stop the excessive amount of freebies which is being given to the public. So laws can be brought with respect, laws and guidelines with respect to that can be brought out.
So you think there is a need?
Yes, sir, there is a need.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Amritanshu, you are an electrical engineer.
Yes, sir.
What is the role of semiconductors?
The role of semiconductors in my field specifically would be to reduce the size of the devices and to increase the computation power of the devices which are present with us.
You mentioned about computation power. What's Moore's law?
Moore's law states that, sir, in that the number of chips in a wafer doubles by every 15 months.
Has something recently happened? Because if that is the case and it exponentially keeps on doubling, then soon we'll have atomic sized.
Sir, recently research points out that the Moore's law will not work out post 2023, 2024. But humans have an inventive way about it, that they are now folding the chips, folding the wafers to accommodate twice as many chips within that.
Right. And this semiconductor technology powers much of information technology, the hardware part of it at least.
Yes, sir.
Where does India stand on this?
At present, sir, judging by 2022 or 2022 statistics, we are importing nearly all of the semiconductors which are required for our consumption. That is about around $10 billion per year we are importing semiconductors. But we see that government has brought out essential schemes with respect to PLI, production linked incentives. We see that semicon conferences have been taking place, and we are also negotiating with various countries under ISET with USA. We are also cooperating with South Korea, Taiwan among others to bring out to enhance our Atmanirbharta in this sector.
All right. Now about your home state, Odisha.
Yes.
What is the demographic profile there?
Could you explain a bit more, sir?
What do you know about the demographic profile? Men, women, sex ratio, etc., etc. Age groups?
Okay, sir. So the population of Odisha is around 43.7 crores. Out of that, we see that the people in poverty line are at around 30%, which would bring out around 10 crores. The sex ratio of Odisha is around 971 in the adult phase, and at birth it is around at 939. With respect to maternal mortality rate, Odisha is at 60 per 1000 births.
So let me come back to the poverty ratio. You said 30%,
Yes,
which
sir.
is about double that of the national ratio. Is that correct?
It is 7 or 8% above the national
So
average.
why is that so high?
So there are certain structural factors with respect to the poverty in Odisha. First is that Odisha suffered from the ravages of the zamindari system, which was started by the English East India Company. Second was post-independence. We see that Odisha, a certain freight equalization policy was launched by Prime Minister Pandit Nehru, which led to diversion of resources, diversion of industries from Odisha. Additionally, we see a lot of natural disasters taking place in the area, along with recurrent droughts. And lastly, I would say that there is a lot of brain drain from Odisha owing to the poor conditions of the place.
All right. What is the biggest law and order problem that the state faces?
Illegal mining. Illegal mining is the biggest law and order issue faced by the state of Odisha.
Left wing extremism, perhaps?
So left-wing extremism could have been an issue 10 years back, but we could see that Odisha government, along with cooperation from the central government, has successfully contained the issue in the last few districts.
All right. Let me now come to your background, in that you've had your experience with elite education, wherein you went to BITS, which is quite a well-known institute. You're an engineer, and then you've dabbled in entrepreneurship also, as I can see from your DAF.
Yes, sir.
You have also been working as a business associate.
I was working, sir.
You were working.
Yeah.
So why is it that you first chose to bypass the civil services, the entrepreneurial field, and you also bypassed becoming an engineer as a career engineer, and that you switched through at least two very, very lucrative professions after having spent considerable time? Why do you wish to come here now?
So a lot of factors contribute to the decision. First is the amount of independence we had at BITS with respect to 0% attendance. So I got to explore a lot of fields while studying at the same time, and I was able to manage my studies well with the other pursuits which I was having, including my civil services preparation and my tenure as vice president of the entrepreneurship cell. And second, I would say that civil services has been in my mind for a very long period of time, because my dad is also in the services, and I believe that coming from a fairly privileged background, I would be able to give back to society in a proper way through that.
So now that you've explored so much, suppose you wish to explore the civil services, and if it doesn't work out, why do you think you deserve to be given the opportunity ahead of others?
So I believe I should be given the opportunity because I have done the necessary hard work, and I have sacrificed a lot to reach at this position, and I have cleared my prelims and mains by studying all the requisite subjects and requires, and I believe that I have the requisite qualities to become a good civil servant.
All right. So let me ask you this, which is a leading question. You've had your time with entrepreneurship a little bit, right? You've had your dabbles into engineering. They require a certain set of skills, yes, intelligence, logical thinking, etc., etc. Then you've also now appeared for the interview, the UPSC interview. What are the things, what qualities should you have here which are exclusive to the civil services, which are not usable or very much deployable in these other pursuits? Or is it just a blanket set of qualities that one can just deploy anywhere, and if anybody smart enough can get in?
So I believe that all the qualities which are required in civil services and in other pursuits of life are the same, like integrity, compassion, discipline, among others. And certain qualities in civil services, which includes like staying in an hierarchical position, is becoming lesser and lesser relevant in the corporate and the private sector.
And what makes you think that you are suitable for these?
So because I believe that I have these qualities, and hence I have been able to clear the examinations and I have been able to take this interview.
Okay. As far as investments are concerned, funding is concerned, which entrepreneurship does much better than the government. Resource allocation. They have more power to allocate resources. Venture capitals, angel investors, they have much more leverage, much less criteria to consider. They can look at only merit or whatever they wish to look at, instead of the way it works in the government, which is much more restricted. You have to look at a lot of other factors, correct?
Yes,
You're legally much more tightly bound.
Yes, sir.
Correct? With that power to allocate resources, which is such a fundamental power, why should anybody choose the civil services over entrepreneurship, given that privilege?
So the aim of entrepreneurship and the private sector is to earn profits, and the aim of the civil service is to ensure that the welfare of the public is at first. So I believe that people who are more predisposed towards welfarism over profits, and in my case, which is true because I was working more in the social entrepreneurship sector, where I was trying to help certain low cost industries like weavers, among others, to gain sufficient funds so that they could preserve their art. And as a result, I believe that I believe that people who are more inclined towards welfarism could take part in civil services.
All right, thank you.
What is your own assessment about your mock interview?
So
On a scale of 1 to 10?
I would say 7, sir.
Okay, very fair.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, but
Thank
you can also reach up to 9.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Now, some general things. The greeting etiquette, when you enter, greet the chair, and if there is a lady, greet the lady and the chair. If the lady is the chairperson, then greet only lady
Okay, sir.
and acknowledge others.
Okay, sir.
Okay?
Okay, sir.
That is a greeting one.
Okay, sir.
Your suit is fine, but you should not wear any jewelry.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Yeah?
I will. Huh.
If you want to sport beard, then it should be full beard. If
No,
you
sir.
want to
I
go-
will be shaving. I will be clean shaving.
Okay, okay. If you so shave on the day of the interview,
Yes,
not
sir,
a day
definitely.
before,
Yes, sir. Definitely.
not the night before.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And your suit is fine. Are you proposing to wear this suit or a plain suit?
So I was thinking of wearing a plain suit, but as it is in stitching, I had to make do with this one. Dark navy blue suit I
Okay.
had prepared.
So when is your interview?
It has not been scheduled so far.
So you have the time for.
Yes, sir. I have that.
You will be the dark navy blue
dark
suit is
navy
what
blue.
you're proposing to wear.
Yes, sir.
So fine, wear a white shirt and a matching tie.
Yes, sir.
Not floral or anything, plain
yes, sir.
if possible.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And black plain shoes.
Yes, sir. These are my father's shoes. I didn't have my own.
Oh, all right. So, okay.
Yes, sir. It has just been 15
So
days
they
since
should
we
be-
are here.
so
My
they
dad
should
got
be-
transferred.
Preferably they should be the laced ones.
Yes, sir.
The lace shoes, you know,
Yes, sir.
Oxford or Irish brogue,
Yes, sir.
whatever you choose, or even plain,
Yes, sir.
derby,
Yes, sir.
that will also do.
Yes.
And so some general things, these are some broad general guidelines. UPSC, as you know, is looking basically for the candidates the following things. Their analytical ability, their ability to understand the issues in this particular situation, how well they have understood the question, and whether they are answering the questions within the scope of the question.
Yes, sir.
So 5-10 seconds can be taken in understanding the full import of the question,
Yes, sir.
structuring it, and then responding it in a briefly,
Yes, sir.
you know, covering the entire thing.
Yes.
Okay. We have not asked you a lot of things. Even in Pol Science, we haven't asked you a lot.
Yes, sir.
The PSIR,
Yes.
a whole lot of things.
Yes.
Revise your entire syllabus thoroughly.
Yes.
All 7 sections of GS, static as well as thematic, current affairs related to all those static
Yes.
things,
Yes.
all those 7 segments,
Yes.
science, tech, and the
Yes.
economy and history and culture and
Yes.
current affairs and everything.
Yes, sir.
There may be a possibility that some questions may be thrown at you just to throw you off balance,
Yes, sir.
to encourage you to get into an argument.
Okay, sir.
That is to be avoided completely.
Okay, sir.
You can express your point of view,
Yes, sir.
and if a contrary point of view is expressed and insisted upon, one nice, decent, diplomatic way is to acknowledge those points also in addition to your points.
Yes, sir.
However, you can reconcile them that look, this,
Yes, sir.
you know, you understand.
Yes,
You,
yes.
you know, I don't have to tell you.
Yes.
Put them together and come up with a nuanced
Yes.
kind of a thing.
Yes.
When you are answering the question, address everybody, because the questions are being asked on the behalf of panel,
Yes.
not individual members.
Yes, sir.
And all your tricky questions of situation-based questions, you have to rely on constitutional morality. All your proposed actions must be in conformity to the constitutional values and constitution and the law.
Yes.
You can safely rely on court judgments, Honorable Supreme Court's judgments on various issues.
Yes.
The issues which are still, where the wheel is still in spin, you can say that the issues have been thrown up and the process, they are being processed, and a final picture is yet to emerge. For instance, same-sex marriage. So these are various issues. As of now, these are various aspects.
Yes.
As of now, I have not really reached a conclusion, but would wait it would be in fitness of things to wait for the parliament to
Yes.
discuss these things. Then a lot of issues, lot of aspects will be,
So
will unravel.
in this which you said about same-sex marriage, I can say that the way in which we look at certain institutions of society like marriage and all will change with the amount, will change when our income and our growth rates also match with the Western world, which has a very liberalized view of the things which we can say. So eventually, if the society permits, such laws will, such new definitions of these institutions will also become prevalent, and eventually it can be.
Okay, so you, instead of saying in so many affirmative words, you can use a very generalized kind of a thing that as the society, the social development and various structures, social and economic change, with which bring in its wake various structural changes. Let's see how
Yes.
the things pan out.
Yes.
As of now, nothing can be said with certainty
Yes.
till adequate discussion has taken place.
Yes.
Leave it at that.
Okay. Sir.
That is the indication that if an issue is not clear,
Yes.
you are not concluding something on base of half-baked facts.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
that is the test.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Any questions if you have, you can ask us.
I wanted to ask, sir, can I gesticulate my hand like this?
Little
or
bit.
Little bit is allowed. Okay.
If it's your natural style, you can.
Because I was giving a lot of presentations
No
at
problem.
my company, so I
It's
have
perfectly
this habit.
fine. Not too much of gesticulation, but your natural style a little bit is fine. Without suppressing your natural style.
Yes.
Okay, if it adds to your confidence, by all means.
And what about the controversial questions? So how should one?
Controversial
go about
questions, you can take a 360 view that on this particular issue, there are several opinions,
it?
which range from this, and this. Taking the totality of the things, it appears, it's a very safe bureaucratic
Yes.
expression, it appears that
Yes.
these are some of the options, these are,
Yes, sir.
so take a take a very matter of fact, detached kind of a view
Yes, sir.
in the matter, detaching yourself from the thing that these multiple, it's a multi-dimensional thing. So controversies can be, one aspect is this on the one hand, and on the other hand, this, etc., etc.
Okay, sir.
Yeah?
Okay,
Anything else?
Nothing else. Okay.
Okay.
ठीक.
All the best to you.
Namaste, sir. Namaste.